Today I'll be unboxing my March Spellbinders hot foil kit, using that along with hot wax seals to make some non-traditional Mother's Day cards. Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty, where I create with paper and photos in artful ways. Here is my Spellbinders kit. Now they offer various options and I'll put links down below if you want to check them out. I only subscribe to this one because I'm new to hot foiling and this is a way that I'm building up my stash. So you get the hot foil set of plates plus a roll of hot foil. And actually I already have this color because I did buy a couple of things in addition to starting up with this kit. At any rate, I'm going to do these sentiments, and because these are just sentiments this month and not a lot of imagery, it's a little hard to focus a project just around sentiments, but I will get them all foiled and die cut out. And what's really nice is that these all are one go. So you hot foil them all in one go, you die cut them all out in one go. Well, mostly. There's a couple of extra mom-dad sentiments that die cut separately. But you can get lots of sentiment strips to just save in your stash for that right moment. All right, I am going to choose some Mother's Day sentiments out of here, but my family and I had a falling out and we didn't talk for about 12 years. Now, that's kind of in the past at this point. But every time Mother's and Father's Day roll around, there's so much mushiness in a lot of the cards that it just doesn't feel right. So I cut apart one of the sentiments and I put together my own sentiment style that feels true, which says forever my mom. And so that really feels true to me and our relationship. All right, we are going to turn to some wax seals, and I have one from Spellbinders there on the left and one that I purchased at a stationery store on the right. It is a sailing ship and my mom collects sailing ships, so I am going to create that card for her out of sealing wax, and it's very appropriate to the time of sailing ships, so I thought this would be a fun way to send a Mother's Day card. I am going to ground wax seals onto a cloud of color. I'm using Concord and Ninth products here, and I will link you up to everything down below. Some things I have monetary affiliations with, some things I do not. If you use my shopping links, I get a very, very small commission, and I do very much appreciate it, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. It helps support the work I do here on this channel, so all those links will be down below. Here I am using the powder cardstock with, I believe I'm using the Harbor ink pad, which is a shade darker than the powder. So I'm trying to create this very wispy, cloudy background to mount my wax seals on, and I'm going to do 3 of them. Now I'm using wax from Honeybee, and I'm happy to mix and match companies and manufacturers all the time, so I don't just stick with one company. When you are doing a wax seal with these beads, typically you need about 4 beads to create a seal. You do have to take into account the wax that is left over in the little pot. I don't know what that thing is called, the melting pot there, because there's often enough wax left over to make up for like a 4th little bead. So I started off with 3, and you'll see in a minute that that wasn't quite enough because there wasn't enough wax left over. In the meantime, I did decide to cut down my ink blended panel so that I could get a nice big frame around this. Because there's not a lot of detail to this card, bringing my canvas into a smaller size is going to make more sense. And it's going to help balance out the design by bringing everything in. So I've melted my beads. I pour them onto a silicone mat, and this is just a cut apart mat from my kitchen. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop my wax press down into that wax. And here you can see it's super thin. It didn't create that nice thick border like a pizza crust almost that a lot of wax seals do. So second try around, I am going to go ahead and add another bead. Now that is built up even more wax that is left over, because whenever you pour this out, it really doesn't come all out. I do use a little bit of a twirling motion after I pour, because this can leave strings that drip down the side and start burning from the little tea candle that's keeping everything hot. So that helps with that problem. Wax seals can be colorized with permanent ink, just like I'm using a Sharpie here, which is a permanent ink, and I happen to have a gold Sharpie on hand. I was going to go with silver since there is silver in my wax. However, I thought the silver and gold theme kind of fit with kind of a pirate shippy style of theme. So I am going to color up these ships with this gold Sharpie marker, and that helps bring out the detail just a little bit more. This was a very intricate wax seal, so it was getting quite lost with the variation of the wax colors and whatnot. So I went ahead and made more seals, and I colored those up with my gold marker as well. And I'm just going to do this process of repetition with these wax seals. So I have a central kind of focal one that's bigger and darker than the other ones. And then I've surrounded that with smaller and calmer ones. I've just used glue dots to put those onto my card. I don't have a huge amount of experience with gluing wax seals down after the fact, so I'm hoping those glue dots will make it through the mail. I will have that hand canceled. Oh, here is a look at if you mess up a wax seal, you can just put it back in, remelt it, and make new ones. And here I did a row of wax seals from the Spellbinders seal, which is a floral print, and I did color those up as well. And I used various colors of beads. So let's go ahead and complete that card. Like I was saying, I don't have a lot of experience with gluing the wax seals to projects, so we'll see how this holds up in the mail. If you don't know, there are what's called a butterfly stamp for the U.S. Mail Service, which is a non-machinable surcharge stamp where you can write hand cancel on the envelope, and that extra postage included in the butterfly stamp will help pay for the cost of hand canceling these so that they don't get squished in the machinery. All right, I debated back and forth between colors that I wanted to use on this card. And what I'm going to do with these other ones is I'm going to make Mother's Day cards for my friends. And I like to do this every year because having had these friendships for so much of my parenting life and watching and learning and growing together with their parenting life has meant a lot to me. Because like I said, I did have a rough time with my family. And so being around good parents has been very important, a very important influence on my own life and my own parenting. So I like to acknowledge that on Mother's Day and send cards to my friends as well. So I would encourage you to find all the mothers in your life, whether your own mother or the other mothers around you that have influenced you, and send them some love on the holiday, because mothering is often very thankless, and it's good to be acknowledged and appreciated for the very hard work that goes into it. And that's part of the reason why I continue to send my mom Mother's Day cards, because even though our relationship was strained in the past, it's nice to be able to acknowledge the things that were important and were there despite some of the difficulties that we've gone through. All right, I did zhuzh that up with an embossing folder. I added some stripes, including some gold to go along with the gold I put on the wax seal. And then there was one of the sentiments in the hot foil kit that said, "To my friend." So I'm going to leave that on the outside, and then I will find a Mother's Day stamp later and put Happy Mother's Day on the inside of those. And I will make multiples of those a little bit later down the road. It is still early, so I have time to do that. Here is a closer look at these cards. I hope I've inspired you in some way to get out your supplies and create some cards to send some love. That is it for this time around. Until next time, I hope you have artful days.